What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome to a new episode of Phenomenal Views. And if you cannot tell by the figures that are around me, this has something to do with Five Nights at Freddy's. I have all 6 of the figurines. I have not started collecting the Nightmare ones yet, but I'm going to get around to that. Guys, this is a review that I've been wanting to do for some time. I finally finished reading it yesterday. Guys, this is my review for Five Nights at Freddy's Silver Eyes. Now, I hate this cupcake. I hate you, cupcake. I'd eat you, but I'm afraid you would haunt my soul. Yeah. Okay, so basically, this book is really fun to read. I enjoyed it. Now, probably a lot of you are going to go, well, Nick, you say you enjoy every book you review. Actually, there has been 1 or 2 books I have read that I have actually not liked. But I really liked this book because, as you can see, I'm a humongous fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. I have played Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2. I have watched all Markiplier's videos. I've watched all the fan theory videos and the tree sickle videos about Five Nights at Freddy's. I have read this book, obviously. I really want to read the twisted ones and the new one that's coming out. And I'm even excited for the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie that is coming out. So if any of you who know me, you would probably say, Nick, you have a problem. Well, I don't care. It's my problem. And I love them and they love me. They're my friends. They're my roommates and they're not scary at all. I am not being held against my will. Anyways, I'm going to go into some spoilers with this book. So if you do not want to know what this book is even about or anything that happens, you're going to want to go ahead and leave now because I'm going to get straight into this. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the rundown of the book. This novel takes place after the incident at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza has already happened, where the bite has already happened, and where children have already went and disappeared. This takes years later. I want to say at least it takes like 16 years later after the incident has happened, when the main character Charlie, who is the older sister of the little kid who was taken, returns with her and her friends Jessica, Marla, Lamar, and John and Carlton. They all come back for an anniversary for the incident that has happened. They are back because of their school is doing basically this charity thing where they're going to offer scholarships. All the families banded together to make a scholarship foundation for people who can go to college and stuff like that. So they're back basically for the anniversary. One night when they're eating dinner, they decide, hey, let's go to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Let's go and sneak in. And when they do, they find out some things that they find themselves locked in this isolated building. They feel like that they don't belong there, and they basically discover a lot of things that have went on. And now they are trying to, 1, escape, and 2, they are trying to also tell and report what is going on in Freddy Fazbear's. And that is pretty much a gist of the book, is them going to Freddy Fazbear's, getting out, going back again, getting out, and figuring out what's going on, trying to solve the mystery of what really happened. That is basically the gist, and I'm going to go into spoiler territory right now. So if you do not want to know anything else about this book, you're going to want to leave now. I'm just going to tell you also right now, this book gets an A. It is amazingly written. Scott did an amazing job. I don't know if he actually wrote the book or if he just gave ideas, but this is a really fun book to read. If you love scary novels, you're gonna like it. If you don't like Five Nights at Freddy's, but if you do like scary novels, give this one a read because this book messed with me. Okay, so for those who left this video, I hope that you were enjoying the book, and for those who stayed, thank you. So let's go ahead and get this going. So in this book, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out now. The purple guy is William Afton. William Afton is the purple guy, and after the incident that happened at Freddy Fazbear's, he has disappeared and is supposedly, this book also, you cannot tell if what you're reading is actually truth or if there is more meaning behind what is being written. And that is one of the things I love about this series, is it's still a mystery. Like, all the things that are in it, you don't know if that's meant to be taken than what more than it is. And there's a couple lines in this book where it takes a big hint to sister location. And I loved when I read that. I was like, oh, so this is what the theory was talking about. But yes, this book does connect Five Nights at Freddy's Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, and even a little bit at Five Nights at Freddy's 4. But Five Nights at Freddy's 4 isn't really mentioned at least that I can picture, or at least not that I could go from reading. But Sister Location is slightly hinted at, but you would have to be a big fan to understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's talk about this. We have our main character, Charlie, who is basically a high school girl who is coming back to her hometown, and she's basically a loner. Ever since the incident that happened, it's changed her life forever. I mean, obviously, you know, when you find out that your little brother has been taken and murdered, that would probably change your life forever too. She comes back and kind of not really dreading, but she definitely feels like the town itself has not changed, and she is basically trying to figure out, you know, I guess like what her role in life is, or she's basically just trying to get through college. She's basically trying to get through college, and she eventually runs into her old crush, John, and they all meet up for dinner, and then they all decide, hey, let's go to Freddy Fazbear's. And this is what I was waiting for. Every single page was intense. Because when they go to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the way that the book is written, it basically feels like you do not belong here. Like when they finally find a way in, and that's the thing, what's so amazing is like the whole entire town was affected by what happened in this book. So they decided to build a mall around the restaurant, and how they find it, and then when they finally discover that it has been hidden away, like this is kind of like how they treated Freddy Krueger and Freddy vs. Jason. They basically treated Freddy like a plague, and they locked up anybody who ever came into contact with him. They wanted him to not exist. That's what they do in this book. They want everyone to basically forget about Freddy Fazbear, so they lock it away. Even like having another restaurant or a store built around it, and like they had a bookshelf that blocked the entrance, and then when they finally get in there, them going in there, it's like they're going into a place that they do not belong. And this book just makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel like you're going someplace that's been locked away. And when they walk around, the book messes with you. Like there's a scene, there's a part in the book where they're all messing around with stuff, and as they're walking and messing around, you hear Freddy's music. You hear his box go off, and everyone's looking around going like, do you guys hear that? John actually, half the time, is the one who hears it. He's like, do you guys hear that? And everyone's like, no, we don't hear anything. What are you talking about? And then there's actually a callback to the game where Carlton is like messing around and pizza pans fly over. And the reason why that's a callback to the game is because when you play the first Five Nights at Freddy's, a lot of the times you will hear someone in the kitchen messing with pots and pans. And so when that happened, I was freaking out. I was like, holy crap, the animatronics have come to life. And the way how they describe the animatronics, and like the way just like how they're standing in place, just looking at you, and it makes you feel like they are staring at you like, what are you doing here? This is our home. You do not belong here. And this book just has such a good way of really driving that fear into you. Now, as for character development, only really two characters really get developed, and that is Charlie and John, because they're really the main characters. They're the ones who spend a lot of time together, and I'm like, you get a feel for Charlie and John, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of the other characters don't get that much character development. Like they don't really get written in that much. But here's the thing: when it comes to this book, that doesn't matter, because they are all involved. They are all affected by the event that happened at Freddy Fazbear. So you immediately feel for all of them. They're all sucked into this. They were there when Charlie's brother Michael disappeared. They were there. John even saw it happen himself. And so I was actually okay. Like they gave us some character development. Like they talked about like what they're doing in their lives now after what happened and after they graduated high school. And that's pretty much really all that they give you on these characters. But the fact of the matter is, it really didn't bother me, because where they're all affected by it, like they were all kids when this happened, and when they come together and they keep going back, you really are like, you're scared for them. Like you're thinking, why are you guys going back? No, you guys need to get out. And when the animatronics finally did come to life, holy crap, the crap hit the fan. And that's another thing that this book does really well, is the more and more they go to Five Nights at Freddy's, the more and more they go to Freddy Fazbear's, you can just feel that things are getting worse, like just something isn't right. You got pictures moving, looking at people, you have them finding the offices and messing with things, and then they eventually have them running into the killer. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and reveal who the killer is in this book, which I kind of thought was funny. The killer is a security guard. When they're in the book, like they're walking around, there's a security guard who is trying to, basically, he's the security guard of the mall. He's walking around and he's basically trying to make sure no one trespasses on the property, but eventually they finally get caught and they take him in there. And he's like, I've always wanted to know what it was like to be in there. And I was like, I have a very eerie feeling about this guy. And of course, my conclusion was correct. He is the one who killed the kids. He is the one who snuck them all in the back and stuffed them in the suits and killed them. And they actually have a very interesting theory on why the animatronics do not try to kill him. And he says, and I quote from the book, he said, "You all are adults. They won't come after." He's basically talking about how they hate adults because of where an adult killed these kids and stuffed them into these suits. They hate adults. So of course they are going to kill adults only. And the reason they do not kill him is because he is basically in this outfit. He's in both of these. Well, he's in the spring lock suits. He is in the spring lock Bonnie suit, and he eventually becomes, at least from what I can tell in the book, he becomes Springtrap himself. He is the one who becomes Springtrap because, for anyone who doesn't know about the spring locks, these suits were held together by, well, they weren't held together, but they came together to make the animatronics. And in order for you to wear one of these suits, you had to peel these or wind these things back, and any sudden movement will set them off and kill you. And even like when one of the characters gets caught by the security guard and puts in a suit, he's like, "Careful, you don't want to move because you could die." Because of the spring locks. And he talks like he even has a spring lock. I think he either has a spring lock. I know Charlie has one because she finds one. And she remembers her dad talking about it. Like she sets it off and it does something. And that is what happens. Charlie, I think, either pushes him or no, they lead him to a room where the spring lock suit sets off and kills him. And thus he becomes Springtrap. And the book has a ending of just them eventually leaving and going back to their lives, but it makes you wonder, what life do these guys have after what they have discovered? Whenever this one gets involved, whenever Foxy gets involved, crap gets worse. It really gets worse. He is the one animatronic that really terrifies me in not only the games, but also in this book. Because like the stuff he does to Charlie and the stuff he does to Marla's little brother, Jason. And I just loved whenever they went in Freddy Fazbear's because I wanted them to go there. I got what I wanted. I got to go to Freddy Fazbear's. In this book, it makes you feel like you're really there with them. You're looking at all the drawings. You're looking at what this place is like now, as it has been undisturbed for so many years. And this book gave me everything I was looking for, and I cannot wait for the movie to come out, and I cannot wait to read the Twisted Ones. I've heard it's really good. But guys, I'm going to give Five Nights at Freddy's an A. This book is just so fun to read, especially if you're a fan of the series. If you're a fan of horror novels in general, guys, pick up this book and read it. You will not be disappointed. This book has also good drama in it with Charlie and John, with them eventually trying to... There's a hint that they might get together, but there is a story in their past talking about how they always loved each other. And whenever Charlie went to her house, it was so creepy. That was another place where you just felt like something was going to go bad. Like, this bad things happen here, and there's still something there. There's always something at Five Nights at Freddy's. Guys, I strongly advise you go play the games because they will scare the ever-living crap out of you. The story is great, and it's been passed on phenomenally in this book.